on.
Hello, I'm Bob and this is Let's Get Retro in association with retrospective.com. Check out our live cast every Friday now. It's better than having root canal, slightly, but not much. So the next thing you're going to see I done originally for a site called Gamers Ireland about a year ago, so I got the okay just to put it up on my own channel. It's a look at Batman games from the pretty much ZX Spectrum era up to this video. I think it's the 16 bits. The next video is up to the PlayStation era. I keep meaning to go back and do a third one up to the modern consoles, which means I get to play Arkham Asylum and Arkham City again, which will be fun. But yeah, listen, have a look and hopefully enjoy.
Looking way back, the very first Batman game released on a console or computer was the Spectrum version. Spectrum game, Batman, released I think 1985 or 86. It was done by a bunch of guys who'd previously done a game called Head Over Heels, which used a very kind of isometric sort of view. And you went around kind of puzzle solving. It used the same game engines. I mean, the idea of game engine reuse is not new. They've been doing it for years. And as you can see, it's not really it doesn't compare to the likes of Arkham Asylum, obviously. You've got a very tubby Adam West style Batman there, and it really kind of is a very basic game. You wander around a maze, kind of collecting your various things like your bat boots, your bat cape and so forth. As you can see, the baddies are really camp and unusual. As a koala bear. It's a kind of not the kind of thing you expect to see Batman facing off against. Well, maybe the old 60s TV show, but not the kind of thing you expect the Dark Knight to be after. But it's a good game. You basically there. You wander around, you collect the various different bits and bobs, and you put together your bat plane, and then you go off and you find Robin. So it's a good little adventure game. And as the first, believe it or not, the first Batman game ever. So we're going to look now at the next one, which is on the Commodore 64. Now this is called Batman the Cape Crusader, and again it's a mixture of action and adventure. You basically go around collecting various different items. For example, if I remember rightly, on the first level here, there you go, there's a little interface. So as you pick things up, you can use them or throw them down or what have you. If I remember rightly, you have to go and do things like get a disc and tools to fix the back computer. And then you go off into the world fighting bad guys. It's great as well. When you got the game, it was on a tape, and one side of it had one game which is basically you versus the Joker, and the second one had a completely different adventure which is you against the Penguin. So I mean, forget about DLC or anything like that. I mean, back then, people didn't string things out. You got your two games there and then ready to go. So it's a good game. It was actually used as a pack-in for the Commodore 64. In other words, when you bought a Commodore 64, it was one of it was actually the Caped Crusader pack, I think it was called. In fact, I think they used it on a few different Commodores, a few different Commodore packs. So good little game. And what we're going to be doing now is looking at something a little bit later on. These two games came out prior to the Batman movie, prior to the Tim Burton movie. And the next few games we're going to look at are kind of in the wake of that. So, but they're all very different takes on it. A lot of them will follow the same storyline as the Batman movie, but they all do it very different ways. Let's see there. Oh, the back computer's out of order. Again, this is all controlled with just a joystick and one fire button. So doing things like holding down the fire button and pushing up and down like a punch and kick, pressing it on its own and pulling down will get your menu, such as this. So it's a good little system, and although the only thing I'll say is that music, there's only one tune and it will drive you nuts after a while. So there's a nice option there, as you can see, to switch it off if needed. But the control disc. A lot of the game was literally wandering around grabbing things and trying to work out what the hell to do with them. But again, a lot of early 80s adventure games are pretty similar to that. Oh, again, graphically, it's very good, and they've even got a little motif of the comic book panels there, so it's very well done, and very few games since have used that kind of little graphical thing. Comic Zone, I think, on the Mega Drive is the only one I can think of. But anyway, next up we're going to load up PC Engine, otherwise known as the TurboGrafx 16, and it had a rather interesting Batman game, so we'll just see that now in a second. Okay, PC Engine version. Now, this is a bit unusual. In all the other Batman games you'll see tend to be platformers or beat 'em ups or whatever mainly. This is unusual in that it's kind of a maze-based game. It reminds me a lot of Crackdown, the old arcade game rather than the Xbox remake from a few years ago. But basically wandering around a big city type, or in this case warehouse area, collecting power-ups and then basically trying to find the various different, I'm assuming it's the Smilex evil stuff from the Batman movie, the one that, the poison that the Joker is going to spread through the city. This is the first, by the way, of the games from the movie that I'll be covering. This came out a little bit after the Batman movie. This is the Tim Burton one that kind of started everything off. By the way, I probably won't have enough time to. I definitely won't have enough time to cover all the Batman games in this particular video. So I may split it up into 2 or 3 sections. So if you like the first one, you'll like the rest, and if you don't like the first one, well, yeah, give the rest a miss. So basically, you run around beating up clowns, which is a noble pursuit as always. Collecting your various different vials of Smilex, and that's basically the game goes. It's pretty good. So it makes a good change from, as I said, most of the Batman games you'll see are beat 'em ups or walking kind of shooters or what have you. So the next thing we're going to look at is Batman on the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. This is done by a company called Sunsoft, who had the license to the early Batman movies. There's a little brief glimpse of Batman there. That's Michael Keaton in his big leather outfit. So we're going to look at this. It's a kind of a very atypical kind of NES platformer. Can you walk along? It was the old Batmobile. Walk along, kind of beating people up. And lots of kind of platform jumping as well. He does I'll do it in a second there. He does a great kind of Strider-esque sort of jump up on the wall and kind of jump off, which you can use to your advantage. Again, it's a little bit different from what you'd expect Batman to have. He's got his batarangs, which is great, but he's also got a gun, which I don't remember having in the movie. Would have been a very, very different movie. We're into our fists now. I'm just going to play this for a minute or so, just to give you a brief taster. It's actually quite very good. Like I said, it's very, it's a very typical kind of NES platformer. Constantly respawning baddies there. Lots of power-ups to pick up. But it's probably, it's kind of just a regular platform game with the Batman thing shoehorned onto it. Just gonna really get my ass handed to me here at the moment, but let's see if we can jump up. So we are going to have a quick look next at one of the Ocean games. Now Ocean were a publisher on the 8-bit computers and 16-bit computers, so the Commodore, the Spectrum, the Amstrad, the Amiga, the Atari and so forth. They specialised in doing movie conversions, but the movie conversions were good, but they tended to be very formulaic in that you had a platform section and maybe a driving section and a puzzle section, maybe a shooting bit or a beat 'em up. So we're going to load it up now in a second on the Commodore. I will go the Commodore version. Again, this is the Batman, based on the Batman movie. So it's a good platformer. Kind of wander around shooting bad guys and using your grappling hook a lot. It's kind of a Bionic Commando style thing, I guess. Now what I've done is I've cheated a bit. Well, I've cheated. In fact, you can see I've frozen the time on it here because it's actually very tricky. You're basically running around a maze on a time level. Now it's almost a cheat in a way because it's very hard to actually see where you're going to go. A lot of these Ocean games are literally knocked up with the same format. A bit of platforming, a bit of racing. The next section of this, once you finish this level, you knock Jack Napier, the guy who ends up becoming the Joker, into a vat of acid, and then you go off in a driving section and you drive around. We'll just catch the end of it now in a second. You drive around trying to find your way back to the Batcave. Okay, we've skipped it there completely. Basically, you drive around and you basically take these right turns. It's a little mini GPS system telling you which way to go. It wasn't bad, but it got a bit boring after a while. So now this is a kind of little mastermind style thing. puzzle game. Again, this is very similar to the Ocean games of the time. You try and work out which. I think the second one I got 2 of them right, so we'll see if we can get 3 together. You have to. Ocean games very similar. I remember Total Recall, for example, having a platform bit, a beat 'em up bit, a driving bit. I always took the platform bits. I always kind of wish that they'd stuck with the platforming, you know. But there you go. There's again another little shooter section here. I think it uses the same game engine that the same engine the driving section used. You skip ahead now. Now I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and look at the Mega Drive release, or Mega Drive Batman game next, because again it's something slightly different from the others. We'll just load up here with the magic of emulation. Sadly, I actually own pretty much all these games. It's a disturbingly large collection of games here. So, little version of the Batman music there. So, again, Sunsoft, I think they had the first, at least 1 or 2 Batman games, or Batman movie rights. So, it's, this one is different again. There was a Batman, I'm going to be covering it probably in the next section, but there was a Batman arcade machine as well. But, a lot of them, again, beat 'em ups. Usually, you know, they'd have a couple of batarangs. You'd have a use of the grappling gun. I think this here somewhere. Like, for the life of me, I can't remember what it's used for in this game because it's been so long since I played it. Some nice graphics there. So again, I think one things you learn from lots of retro gaming is that every film could be condensed into a beat 'em up section, a platform section, a driving section, and a puzzle section. And the one of the things I do like about, I mean, I love my retro gaming, but the one of the things I like about later games is that you had, maybe from the likes of GoldenEye onwards, you know, you had games that you know, wouldn't capture the whole part, you know, the whole essence of the film, without having to resort to just getting little mini games built based around scenes. Still though, this is a fun little game. Power up there. If I remember rightly, what I'll also be looking at, by the way, is the Mega Drive version, or rather the Mega CD version of Batman Returns, because that's a rather nice little game. But here we go, end of level baddie, and we can just shoot him, down. Oh, that's not going to work. See if we can get away with a little cheap tactic. No, we can't get away with cheap tactics. Just sweep the leg doesn't work. As you can see, the thing about retro gaming is you can see the advances AI has made over the years. Although he's beaten me. I think what we'll do is we'll sacrifice a life and we'll just shoot him down, because you obviously don't want to see me slugging away at one particular bad guy for the rest of this review. So what I'm going to look at, we'll look at last in this section is another NES game. This is Revenge of the Joker. Return of the Joker. It's Revenge of the Joker if you're in, I think in the Japanese version was Return. Oh no, Japanese version was Dynamite Batman. But again, it kind of just jettisons the game, the movie ideas completely, and it goes for this kind of really cool Contra. It's like a cross between Contra and Castlevania. Unfortunately, because of the way I've emulated this, you can't hear the sound, but it's very Castlevania style music. And basically, yeah, you run along, you shoot crates for lots of fiery goodness, and lots of jumping on spiky platforms. And basically you unleash many kinds of firepower hell on bad guys, the way Batman never did in the comics or movies or anything like that. But it's a great game, it's good crack, but it's just, again, it's one of these situations, and you find this a lot with 8-bit gaming. They have a game engine, and they have a game, and they just lash a license onto it, change a few characters around, and there's your Batman game. So, Batman Return of the Joker, well worth checking out. Probably want to look at eBay, because I don't think it's on any of the virtual consoles at the moment. but well worth having a look at. So that's the end of part 1. In part 2 we're going to be looking at some of the 16-bit games and a lot of the Batman Returns stuff and so forth. As always, check out Gamers Ireland for the latest reviews and hopefully some more retro reviews. See you then, thanks for watching.